Have you ever walked into a room and immediately noticed someone who just commands respect without saying a word? Not because they're dripping in designer labels, but because they carry themselves like they own the world, quietly, confidently, effortlessly. True upper class has nothing to do with your bank account. It's about 5 specific habits that transform how the world sees you. Hi, it's Vernon again. Today, I'll reveal 5 subtle habits that quietly signal true upper class, the kind only other sophisticated people recognize. Master these, and you'll notice how differently people treat you almost immediately. After 60, I've watched ordinary people become extraordinary simply by mastering these behaviors. No money required, just intentional effort. And once you see what I'm about to show you, you'll never look at class the same way again. Before we dive in, if you're here because you believe that our most elegant years can happen after 60, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. I share elderly wisdom about living with grace, confidence, and quiet strength, because sophistication isn't about age, it's about intention. Let's start with something you might not expect. It has nothing to do with clothes or jewelry, but with the way words leave your mouth. 1. Speaking with calm and clarity. Not what they say, but how they say it. I'm talking about speaking with calm and clarity, using fewer words, but making each one count. People with real class understand that volume doesn't equal value. They don't rush their sentences, they don't fill silence with nervous chatter, and they certainly don't raise their voice to make a point. Instead, they speak deliberately, with intention, allowing space between their thoughts. Watch someone who truly embodies this habit. They pause before answering questions. They take a breath before responding to criticism. They speak at a measured pace that makes others lean in to listen. There's something almost hypnotic about the way they communicate, not because they're trying to be dramatic, but because they're completely comfortable with silence and space. This isn't about speaking slowly or being boring. It's about being intentional. Every word serves a purpose. They don't ramble or repeat themselves or use filler words like and you know. They've learned that their voice is an instrument, and like any skilled musician, they know how to use dynamics, when to speak softly to draw people in, when to pause for emphasis, when to let silence do the heavy lifting. As Maya Angelou beautifully put it, words mean more than what is set down on paper. It takes the human voice to infuse them with deeper meaning. This wisdom rings especially true after 60. Our voices carry the weight of experience, and when we speak with intention, people listen. The sophisticated person knows that silence isn't empty space to be filled, but powerful punctuation that gives their words impact. They understand that speaking less often means being heard more clearly. They've learned that the person who controls the conversation isn't necessarily the one who talks the most, but the one who chooses their moments wisely. Think about the most memorable conversations you've had. I bet they weren't with people who dominated the discussion or filled every second with chatter. They were probably with people who asked thoughtful questions, listened carefully to your answers, and responded with insight, rather than just waiting for their turn to talk. I'm curious, who is someone in your life whose way of speaking you truly admire? And what is it about their voice that draws you in? Share in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Of course, the way you speak is just the beginning. The next signal of quiet sophistication shows up long before you open your mouth, in how you present yourself through what you wear.
2. Dressing with intentional simplicity. Now, before you think this is about expensive clothes, let me stop you right there. This is about understanding that true elegance comes from quality basics, proper fit, and thoughtful choices, not logos or price tags. People with genuine class dress like they have nothing to prove. Their clothes fit well, their colors are intentional, and every piece serves a purpose. They've mastered what the French call je ne sais quoi, that undefinable something that makes an outfit look effortlessly put together. Here's what most people don't understand about sophisticated dressing. It's about restraint, not abundance. It's about choosing one beautiful accessory instead of wearing all your jewelry at once. It's about investing in clothes that fit your body perfectly rather than following trends that don't suit you. It's about understanding your colors, your proportions, and your lifestyle well enough to make choices that enhance rather than distract. I think of my friend Robert, who at 68 decided to completely overhaul his wardrobe. Not because he suddenly had more money, but because he realized his clothes were sending the wrong message. Instead of buying more, he bought better. 3 well-fitted shirts instead of 10 mediocre ones. 1 perfect jacket instead of several that were just okay. He learned which colors made his skin look vibrant and which ones washed him out. He invested in proper tailoring for the first time in his life. The transformation was remarkable. Suddenly, people began treating him differently. Servers at restaurants were more attentive, clerks were more helpful, and even his own family seemed to see him with new respect. Not because his clothes were expensive, but because he looked like someone who cared about himself and understood quality. The secret isn't about brands or trends. It's about clothes that fit your body properly and colors that complement your skin tone and fabrics that hold their shape. It's about looking like the best version of yourself, not like someone you're trying to become. It's about understanding that getting dressed is your first opportunity every day to show respect to yourself and to the people you'll encounter. When you dress with intentional simplicity, you're communicating that you value quality over quantity, that you understand your own style, and that you have enough confidence to let your personality shine without flashy distractions. You're saying that you're worth the effort it takes to present yourself well. Clothing may open doors, but what truly determines whether you stay respected in the room is your behavior. And nothing speaks louder than the ability to stay calm when emotions run high.
3. Practicing emotional control. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This ancient wisdom points to our third habit, practicing emotional control. People with true class don't let emotions hijack their behavior. They feel deeply. Don't mistake emotional control for emotional numbness, but they choose their responses carefully. They don't explode in anger, they don't melt down in disappointment, and they don't let fear make their decisions. This doesn't mean becoming cold or detached. It means developing what psychologists call emotional regulation, the ability to feel your feelings without being controlled by them. When someone is rude to them, they respond with grace. When plans fall apart, they adapt without drama. When they're frustrated, they address the problem without attacking the person. I've watched sophisticated people navigate family conflicts, workplace challenges, and personal disappointments with a steadiness that's honestly inspiring. They feel everything, but they choose how to express it. They understand that losing control of your emotions means losing control of the situation. And truly classy people don't give away their power that easily. It's pausing before you respond when someone says something that triggers you. It's taking a deep breath when you feel anger rising instead of letting it explode. It's asking clarifying questions when you feel misunderstood instead of immediately defending yourself. It's expressing disappointment without blame, frustration without attack, and disagreement without disrespect. This habit becomes especially important after 60, when we've accumulated enough life experience to know that most situations aren't emergencies. Most conflicts aren't personal attacks, and most setbacks aren't permanent. We can afford to respond rather than react. We've learned that the person who stays calm in chaos often becomes the person others turn to for guidance. Emotional control isn't about suppressing your feelings or pretending everything is fine when it isn't. It's about being the master of your emotional responses rather than their slave. It's about understanding that you can feel angry without acting angry, disappointed without becoming bitter, or hurt without seeking revenge. Save this video as a reminder to pause and breathe before responding the next time someone tests your patience. Your future self will thank you for choosing grace over drama. Once your emotions are under control, something beautiful happens. Generosity flows naturally. The people who embody true class are often the ones who give freely without needing applause or repayment. 4. Giving without expectation. You can always sense genuine upper class in how someone helps others, with no strings attached, no hidden ledger, just a quiet willingness to uplift. My former colleague was Patricia. At 63, she retired from her position as a school administrator, but she didn't retire from making a difference. Every Tuesday, she volunteers at the local literacy center. Every holiday season, she quietly sponsors 3 families, making sure no one knows she's the benefactor. When neighbors face challenges, she shows up with practical help, not advice, not judgment, just genuine assistance. What makes Patricia's generosity so remarkable isn't the scale of her giving, but the spirit behind it. She gives because she can, not because she expects anything in return. She doesn't give to be seen or praised or to create obligations. She gives because true abundance means having enough to share. But this habit goes far beyond money or grand gestures. It's about giving your full attention when someone is speaking to you. It's about offering genuine compliments without expecting them back.
It's about celebrating others' successes without a trace of envy. It's about sharing your knowledge, your connections, and your encouragement freely. People with genuine class understand that generosity isn't about the size of your gift, but the size of your heart. They tip service workers well, they remember birthdays, they send thank you notes, and they go out of their way to help others succeed. They know that what you give away comes back to you in ways you never expected, not because they're keeping track, but because that's how the world works. This type of giving creates what I call a generosity signature. People remember how you made them feel. They remember that you were the one who helped without being asked, who celebrated their promotion, who remembered their mother was sick, who showed up when they needed support. This reputation for genuine care and generosity becomes part of your personal brand, and it's a brand that money can't buy. The sophisticated person gives their attention fully when someone is speaking to them, gives their time without resentment when someone needs help, and gives their approval freely when someone deserves recognition. They understand that generosity isn't about depleting yourself, but about sharing from your overflow. As Winston Churchill wisely observed, we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. This truth becomes especially clear after 60, when we realize that our legacy isn't what we accumulated, but what we contributed. Yet even generosity rests on one foundation, because if there's one resource that reveals a person's true character, it's how they value time, both their own and the time of others. 5. Valuing time above all. Isn't it true that the most sophisticated people you've met are the ones who respect time, both theirs and yours? People with true class are punctual, not because they're obsessed with schedules, but because they respect other people enough not to waste their time. They prepare for meetings, they think before they speak, and they don't drag out conversations just to fill space. They understand that being late or unprepared is essentially saying, "My time is more valuable than yours." But this habit goes much deeper than just showing up on time. It's about being fully present when you're with someone. It's about not checking your phone during conversations. It's about giving people your undivided attention rather than multitasking your way through interactions. It's about quality over quantity in every aspect of your life. Benjamin Franklin understood this when he said, "Lost time is never found again." After 60, this wisdom hits differently. We become acutely aware that every day is a gift, every conversation matters, and every choice about how to spend our time is a choice about how to spend our lives. They're also selective about how they spend their time and with whom they spend it. They say no to commitments that don't align with their values. They limit time with people who drain their energy. They invest in relationships and activities that add meaning to their lives. They've learned that saying yes to everything means saying no to the things that truly matter. The sophisticated person doesn't waste time on gossip, doesn't get caught up in other people's drama, and doesn't spend hours on activities that add nothing to their life or the lives of people they care about. They're present when they're with you, focused when they're working, and intentional about their leisure time.
This habit also means they don't waste other people's time with unnecessary meetings, long-winded stories, or constant complaints. They get to the point, they come prepared, and they respect boundaries. They understand that everyone's time is precious, and they treat it accordingly. Share this video with someone who understands that time is our most precious resource, because wisdom shared is wisdom multiplied. By now, you've seen how small daily choices, from the way you speak, to how you carry yourself, to the way you treat others, can quietly set you apart as someone truly refined. True upper class is never about showing off. It's about living with depth, grace, and quiet strength. It's about carrying yourself in a way that makes others feel comfortable, respected, and valued in your presence. It's about being the kind of person that others aspire to become, not because of what you have, but because of who you are. Aristotle once said that excellence is not an act, but a habit, and that truth still holds today, perhaps more powerfully than ever. These 5 habits aren't just behaviors you adopt, they're expressions of the values you've chosen to live by. They're not about impressing others, they're about honoring yourself and the people around you. After 60, we have something that money can't buy and youth can't replicate: the wisdom to know what truly matters. We can choose to live with intention, to carry ourselves with dignity, and to treat every interaction as an opportunity to practice grace. Is it the calm clarity of thoughtful speech, the confidence of dressing with purpose, the strength of emotional control, the joy of generous giving, or the wisdom of valuing time? Leave a comment and share your thoughts. Your perspective might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if this conversation has opened your mind to new possibilities about living with quiet elegance and intentional sophistication after 60, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. I have so many more videos about elderly wisdom, emotional strength, and discovering the profound power that comes with authentic self-respect in your golden years. Your most influential chapter might be the one where you finally choose to live with the grace and confidence you've always deserved. I'm Vernon. Thanks for watching till now. See you in the next video.